Hey everybody, welcome to your show Inspired by a Message. I am super excited to be hosting another segment for you with an awesome guest. I am your host Jay and my co-host Brad here.
Hello, hello.
So, Brad, who is our host? She's awesome, she's dynamic. You have to talk about her.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to cut right to it. Today, our amazing guest is Miss Sheyna Nicole Burt from the law offices of Sheyna Nicole Burt. And, we're just so thankful to have you here today on Inspired by a Message. And, I just want to get right to it.
Okay.
You do a lot of things in the community. You do a lot of outreach work. You do a lot of community things. Out of everything that you've done to give back to the community and those people that are in your circle, what would you say is the most beneficial to you?
To me, oh gosh, I think that I get a lot of joy out of seeing other people succeed. And I know it sounds so super corny. I get it, but it honestly is the truth that I kind of experience it vicariously through them. If, whether we're talking about like one of my clients who is going through a hardship and emerges from it and is stronger and feels supported, or a nonprofit that I'm affiliated with, if they have an event and it goes off well and they're serving the community, I feel like those victories are my victories. So
Awesome.
That's exciting. And when we first talked,
Yes.
and I said, Sheyna, I've seen everything you're doing. You have to be on our show. This is one of the reasons why, because we're always looking forward to highlight people who are doing awesome things in the community and to showcase you. So you essentially showcase other people.
Yes.
And now we want to showcase you.
Okay.
So with that said, tell us a little bit about where you grew up. What was that like for you?
I have an awesome family that I grew up in. I mean, people would be privileged to have the family that I had.
Aw.
I mean, so my father was in the Army. My mom was a school teacher, and so I am an Army brat officially. I wear it with pride.
Oh gosh,
So,
Brad was in the Army.
what? See, that's good. I'm
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
you on
yeah, of
that.
course.
So Army is where it's at. And so it really, I mean, the Army provided my parents with the opportunity to leave a situation where their opportunities otherwise might have been limited.
Sure.
And so I watched them kind of pull themselves up out of that. My mom using her brain as a teacher, my dad his brain as a member of the United States Armed Services. So I was actually born out in Fort Lewis, Washington. So
Okay.
across the country.
Yeah.
And we bounced around a little bit.
Of course.
One of my sisters was born in Frankfurt, Germany.
Whoa.
My brother was born in Petersburg, and then my youngest sister was born in Petersburg also, in Fort Lee down there. So I just have, it's just an incredible support system. And it's just really hard to blow it when you come from a family that's like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, you know what they say, it takes a village to
Yes.
raise a child. And, for you to have that kind of exposure, I think about so many people that, all they know is their hometown. They never
Yes.
leave, they never get out, they don't experience different cultures and different people. And, that was one of the things I can say in the service that it did for me.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
It expounds your mind,
Yes.
to go out and look at other things. So, with that and keeping in line with what we're talking about, is there any one significant event or person that kind of steered you into law and helping people? Or
And what were the messages that they gave you that
Yeah.
made you who you are today?
I mean, so the messages were coming from the same people who were the reason that I decided to go into law, and that was my parents.
Okay.
When you have people who are telling you there is literally nothing you can't do if you'll work for it.
Wow.
I mean, it's there's nothing magical about that message. It's literally if you go get dressed every day and
Right.
go out there and go get it if you want it. And when you're
Indeed.
hearing that and also hearing from them, there are going to be people who throw up obstacles. And so you have to decide what you're going to do about them. And so, and knowing that you have that support system in the background and hearing from them that there's nothing you can't have if you're willing to go and
Right.
put in the work, you do it. And so, and I'm in my DNA a competitive, like hyper,
Hey.
like active, go get it kind of person
Sure.
anyway. But so you combine that kind of type A personality with a support system that's telling you that the world can be better if you go make it better.
Wow.
It's hard to go wrong with that.
Man,
I love that.
you just said so
Yeah.
much. I want to kind of unpack some of the things that were going through my mind as you were speaking. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said people are going to throw obstacles at you. So for you, essentially, it was, and it is for me as well, it's all about what's your attitude when those challenges happen. Because I know a lot of people, I'm sure our audience can relate, that they go through a lot of things.
Yes.
And there are times, I'm sure there were for me, maybe for you as well, that you felt defeated.
Oh, yes.
Almost like you want to give up and give in. So did you cultivate that and harness that message that your parents said, as that was like the solidifying thing that you said, I can't stop this, I've already started this, I can't go?
Yes. I remember being a senior in high school, and I wasn't like at the top of my class, but I was in the top like 10 people, so somewhere in the top 10. And I remember I had a 4.2 grade point average. I was president of a couple of clubs.
Wait, did you say 4.2?
Yeah. Well, no. It's because, I mean, when you take AP classes, it kind of like distorts it. Oh, no. I'm telling you, I was 4.2 and I was not number one.
Yeah, I was about to say, who was number one?
Right. These children were out there, they were like getting 5s. And so, I mean, but you're doing all this work. And so I'm doing everything that people said I was supposed to do. And so we were forming clubs, because this was at Hilton High School down in Prince William County, and it was brand new.
Right.
So if we wanted a club, we had to form it. And so I'm doing that, and I'm well-rounded. And I was playing the violin. I was the concert mistress of the orchestra. And I had a guidance counselor say to me, you know what, I think you should consider going to community college. I don't think you should go to a standard 4-year college.
Really?
And I thought, but I thought I did everything I was supposed to do.
Sure.
I thought, get the grades and do the extracurriculars and serve the community. And that's not the right thing to do.
Right.
And I remember going home to my parents, and I was devastated.
Of course.
Because, I mean, essentially this person I respect is telling me, I'm not sure that you have it. And I remember my mother being mad, not at the guidance counselor, but at me.
Right.
And saying, I'm sorry, who did we raise? Did we raise you to hear that kind of message and believe it? Or did we raise you to hear that message and disregard it? Because you know who you are and what you've been working for.
That's big.
And so I ended up following my mommy's advice, and I applied to William and Mary and got in. That's the only school I applied to, because I'm also a little bit lazy sometimes. But so I ended up going there and loving it and succeeding. And if I had, it's not that I think that there's anything wrong with community college, but that wasn't what I was working for.
Sure.
I was working for a 4-year institution. I was working for law school. That was the path I thought I was on.
Right.
And to have someone essentially say, I don't think you're academically ready for that. And then there's the question of, well, why did she say that? Is it a race thing, a culture thing? Is it because she thought I wasn't coming from a strong enough background and didn't have a strong enough support system? I don't know. But importantly, Mommy Burt was having none of it. And she said, you go out there and you do it.
Yeah.
So
that's you know, and it's great that you bring that up, because I tell people so many times, you know, the both of us, when you're faced with challenges, and this is one of our ongoing messages here on the show, is, you know, to believe in yourself, one, and your capabilities, but to also face your challenges and your obstacles head on, because you won't truly know what you're made of until you're faced with a challenge.
That's right.
You know, I've been told many times, you know, there's no testimony without a test.
Yes.
You're not
oh my
tested.
God, yeah. Wait, I need a pen, because I have to write that down. Stick it on the back of my business card or something.
But again, this is back to you. So, you know, but you know, I'm glad that you know, you were able to touch on that from your perspective, because I think people need that. Our audience needs that.
Yeah.
Those people that are in our circles that are going through things in life in their realm, you know, they need to hear that, yes, you can. You know, it's just because a person or people tell you can't do something in life, it's for you to step up to that challenge and say, you know what, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
But you know what? It only becomes real when you accept it.
Yes.
And I was just thinking about that when you said that. I'm like, you know what? A word or an action or somebody's attitude or behavior, it shouldn't affect you, but it does.
It
And
does.
the only reason it affects you is because you believe that it's true or
Yes.
that it should affect you. So
Absolutely.
thanks for
It's,
sharing
I
that.
mean, it's what you said before. It's what you choose to do about that
Yeah.
when you're confronted with it. And I do not profess to be a perfect person because I heard that message from the counselor and I was ready to believe it and think, okay, so I need to change my plan. But, you know, thank goodness for my support system that said, no, 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 no.
But that sounds like it was a significant emotional event in
It
your
was,
life.
yeah.
And so maybe it was meant to happen that way.
Yes.
So in the future, you could say, you know what? I've seen people like you before. I've heard this before.
Yes.
No, you're not stopping anything
That's
here.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a
Okay.
little bit. You are a lawyer.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge deal. First of all, it takes a really long time, plus the bar
Ugh.
and LSATs, which you have to. Anyway,
Yes.
it's a long process, people. Just know that. But the point is, tell us a little bit about what you do in your law firm. Why did you want to have your own law firm versus work for one? What inspired you to kind of branch on your own and do your own thing?
I decided to go to law school in the first place.
Right.
Because, oh gosh, I come off so corny in this again. I wanted to help people. And I thought that's how you help people.
I don't think that's corny.
I'll own that. It's okay. You don't have to make me feel better. But it really does. There's a cheesiness because people abuse that message that,
Yes,
oh, I just want to go and
absolutely.
help it. But that's really where I was coming from. I mean, members of my sort of extended family who I saw suffering, and I thought, you know what, I can help you with that.
Right.
And so I thought that law was a way that I could do it. And so, you know, went to school and took the LSATs and then went to law school and passed the bar. I don't know how. And then I
4.2, I can guess.
Stop.
Yeah.
No. But law school is an entirely different thing.
That's a beast.
It was nasty. It's nasty business for people who make it through that.
Wow.
And then so I left there and law school and I worked for almost 2 years with the judges in the Circuit Court of Alexandria
Wow.
because I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do.
Sure.
Okay.
And so that's a good way to get exposed to a lot of different kinds of law. And then I did what I thought you're supposed to do when you're a lawyer. You go take the six-figure job at the huge law firm, and that's how I'm going to be rich and famous and make an impact. I hated
Really?
it. Oh my gosh,
Why?
yes. It was, you earn that money.
Oh, yeah. I can
And I mean, they expect a lot of your soul from it. The things that I cared about, there was no time for. There would be no time for. And so I just found it to be an abusive, unsustainable environment. Some people make it work. Some people can, you know, water off a duck's back. It just they deal with it. For me, I found myself internalizing it. And what's the point of having that money if you hate life?
Right.
If you get up
Sure.
and you're just slaving away and you're trying to escape from the environment whenever you can. And according to my sisters after the fact, apparently I was a horrible person to be around during that period. I didn't know. No one told
Well, at
me.
least she was honest.
Yes. So, but they were. Eventually they just said you were horrible, and you didn't, and no one knew exactly, I think, how to help me understand that. And so when I finally was able to get out of that situation, another one of those like watershed moments where it's like, okay, maybe law isn't what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
And so I took some time trying to find a new thing, found another firm eventually that fit better, but I found myself unsatisfied with that experience too, because I wanted to make a difference even within that firm. And so that's whether that's helping the community or just making a difference for the people who also worked at that firm. And it became clear to me that that was not going to happen in that space.
Right.
And so a friend and I decided, okay, you know what? We can do this. And so the two of us left together. We eventually ended up splitting apart. She was in sort of the Upper Fairfax portion, and I was based in Prince William and wanted to sort of branch out from there. And so I decided, okay, if you want to do this, then do it. And so I opened up my office in Manassas.
Absolutely.
Was it hard?
So hard. Oh my gosh, so hard. Let me not paint too rosy a picture of this. It was hard. And there were times where it wasn't clear how the mortgage was going to get paid.
Wow.
And so you're out and you're going to events and you're networking and you're shaking hands. It was very difficult, but I would not change it at this point for the world. It is exactly right for me.
What would you say was, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that view our show, what would you say was that thing that changed your business being successful? Was it networking? Was it just going to events?
Yeah.
Like, what was that thing for you?
I would say it was not anything immediate. It wasn't like a light switched and it was working. I would say it was grind. It was go out and you hustle.
Work ethic, yeah.
And it's like, so my family jokes me, I never didn't have a business card. And so we would be out at a hairdresser, well, you know, when I still had hair. We'd be out at a hairdresser, or we'd be out at an event, and we'd just be talking to someone. And if I even thought that there was the potential, not necessarily that they would need a lawyer, but that we might have a connection, that there might be a reason to work that relationship later, boom. You remember that In Living Color sketch where it was like bam?
Yeah.
I was like that. I mean, I didn't yell bam because I'm sure they have it trademarked or something, but I definitely would always be ready, because you never knew what the next relationship was going to mean for the business and for my ability to serve people.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so it's, I mean, literally there is just no substitute for hustle, for getting out there and meeting people, and talking to them and hearing their stories.
I love that.
And you know, the thing that resonates with me, you know, in having that mindset to grind and to always, you know, promote and be about your business is the belief.
Yeah.
If you believe in what you're doing,
Yes.
and you there's confidence that comes with that.
Yes.
So the moment, you know, and I know a lot of people that, you know, are in jobs that they, you know, may not find enjoyment in, or just doing it to pay the bills. They do what they're supposed to do, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. They're just on this steady glide path to linear income, you know, format. And those of us that break that mold, and we say, you know what, this is not it. This is not the only way. There's got, you know, my favorite movie series is The Matrix.
Yes,
and I always, you know, she gets a kick out of when I always draw analogies in correlation to the mindset of people that are in the Matrix and those that get free from the Matrix, and realize that there's so much more out there. You know, and in the movie, when you get taken out, you realize that it's not what the Matrix was. You know, there's a guy in there that says, I know this isn't real estate, but it's just ignorance is bliss.
Right.
But then there are those that get out and say, you know what, it's hard to be out.
Yes.
But if I grind and if I stay focused on the goals and the mission and so on and so forth, then I will get to a point where, you know, I have real success and I'm impacting people. So that's big. And, you know, thank you for sharing that. And, you know, I'm glad you brought something. I wish we had a longer segment.
well, I was, as you were talking and that, I struggle with this. I struggle with this, and this is honest. I struggle with coming off as a shameless hustler, like as a salesperson. And he gets on me all the time because he says, you know what, this is your business. You still have to talk to people about it. So from your perspective, how did you did that ever bother you? Or you were just like, you know what, I have to do what I have to do. So I'm talking to everybody, whether they like it or not. So how do you go beyond that?
I love my family, but let me tell you the truth about my family. They take no prisoners. And when they think I'm being obnoxious, which is most of the time, they let me know. So literally, we'll be at a restaurant and someone will be at the table beside us, and maybe we strike up a conversation and they'll mention maybe an issue that we have in common. And I'll say, oh, do you know so-and-so? Oh, you know what? Here's my card. Let me put you in contact. And they were like, oh, are you doing this again? We are eating. And so I might be the wrong person to ask.
Absolutely.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm never not my brand. And so,
I love that.
And so if I need to, again, I just never know where the next connection is going to come from. And maybe it's nothing. Maybe they really were just being patient because I was in their face like this. Or maybe there really is something that I can build on with that person. So I try not to be super obnoxious about it. But who's going to sell me better than I'm going to sell me?
Ooh,
So,
that's what
it.
you need
Yes.
to have in the back of your
Yes.
car right there.
That's it.
That
That's it. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I like to do, just to lighten it up a little bit, we always like to ask, our guests, what things do you do differently? Like a day in the life. We get it, successful, super smart attorney that does things in the community. What do we got here? 40 under 40.
Oh my gosh,
honoree.
that was huge.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But I noticed, and you spilled the beans a little bit there, in part-time, you're if I say this right, violinist,
Yes.
right? Yeah. I mean, I personally don't know any. You're the first. So talk a little bit about that, because to me, the violin strikes me as a very hard instrument to learn. It takes patience and discipline. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm still in the process of learning. It's been like 31 years, and I'm thinking,
Oh.
I'm this close to being able to almost play. It's a lot of the same kind of energy that I put into the practice of law. So the discipline, and for me, a lot of my violin playing is part of my service. So for example, last night I played in a quartet for an event for Keep Prince William Beautiful. They had a fundraising event. And so tonight, CASA, I serve on both of those boards, Keep Prince William Beautiful and also CASA in Prince William. They have an event, and so I'm playing at that. And so playing the violin, on the one hand, is just another arm of how I serve. And then on the other hand, it's just so satisfying. I've had the opportunity to meet all sorts of people who are so different from me. I've gotten to play with people who are much better. I don't strive to be the soloist. I strive to be good enough to be in the room with the soloist, because that's how I learn.
Right.
And so I've gotten to do that, and it's been great. And you play these pieces, and they tell a story, and they're powerful, and that's a source of fulfillment for me. I'm glad to be able to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, reading your resume, you do a lot.
I do much.
Where do you find the time? And a lot of people say this all the time. How do you find the time? And somebody asked me that the other day, and I said, we all have 24 hours.
Thank you.
So
that's right.
It's what you do with it. So how do you find the time? I mean, because it's not just being a violinist and a lawyer with your own law firm. So you are like the head honcho. You have to think about the lights, the bills, the employees, all of that. Then you do community outreach. You're on boards. Tell us about 40 under 40. How awesome is that?
That was a surprise when that happened, and that's because I have great friends in my life who watch what I do, and they help me celebrate it. And so I'm very pleased at the quality of people that I've had the pleasure of interacting with. But it was very flattering to know that people see and they appreciate. And so that's not the point, is that appreciation, but it's nice every once in a while for people to remember you in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do a lot.
Yeah, it's in a very exclusive group, and anytime, my wife is actually a part of what is it? It's for Albany, right? Yeah.
Albany, Georgia, 40 under 40.
Oh, nice. Yes.
That was nice.
Yeah, so anytime, you can get recognized for, as you put it, serving, in whatever capacity that is. If you can touch another life, if you can be a positive influence on someone else, then that should be celebrated, it should be appreciated and recognized. So, thank you for everything that you do. And, at the end of the day, I think, having conversations like this, being able to bring people closer, through the miracle of social media, through the internet and so on and so forth, so they can pull from you what they can to, in turn, give service and provide. Because, one of the things about paying it forward is,
I love paying it forward.
Right, when you do it, it doesn't necessarily mean that person that you just, imprinted on or gave something to or gave service to, they're going to do the same for you.
Right.
They're going to do it to somebody else,
right.
and you keep the cycle going. So that's what this is about. And, I know our audience really appreciates what you were able to share. And really quickly, we've got about 2 minutes here. I will have you to look at this camera right here.
Okay.
Okay, at our audience, And which one is it? The middle?
No,
which one is it?
actually, yeah, she could look at the camera here.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want you to be able to give them something that you would need to hear if you're sitting on that couch and you're looking for some inspiration, you're looking for some sort of motivation to do whatever it is you want to do in life. You know, how can I be immune to that person that tells me I can't? I want you to give them something that's going to empower them, that's going to inspire them to do whatever it is they want to do. And take your time with it.
Okay. All right. This is going to be my Iyanla Fix My Life moment. Okay. So I guess what I'll say is that it is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. And you will be best served if you don't expect people to do a lot to help you make your dream happen. But you can do it. I would say that, first of all, articulate your dream in a way that makes sense. So it's not enough to say, I want to be rich and famous. Say, I want to change the world in this way, and articulate it with specificity. Once you've done that, have a plan. I mean, I'm a spontaneous person. I like to go and do without a whole lot of forethought sometime, but most things don't just happen. And so expect that you're going to have to do some planning, and then work and work and work. And when you are tired, get up and keep working. But never forget your family, never forget your friends, never forget the people who are around you and who love you, and take them with you because you're going to need them. So get out there, get your hustle on, and go do it if you want it.
Were you talking to me?
I was talking directly to you.
I feel like she was talking to me.
Yeah.
Now, really quickly,
Yeah.
where can our audience find you if they need a lawyer for
Yes.
family, corporate, community
Sure.
association? Where can they reach you?
If you're looking for me, just go to burtlaw.co, burtlaw.co. You can reach me through that website.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Thank you, everybody. That's our time. Please follow us on Facebook. Please look us up on Instagram, Twitter. I think last time I said thumb us, but really, just, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Have a great day. See you next time.